Line.
I am Vickie Perez-Segovia.
And I'm Jessica Bishop.
And you're listening to Through Dangers Untold, a monthly art podcast about traversing the precarious gap between art school and a professional, sustainable art career. And what are we working on this week? Vickie?
So this week,
Yes.
I've actually been kind of working on my Patreon, building it up, trying to make some good content because I'm finally on track, which feels very nice.
Yay!
But that is probably going to be the biggest thing I'm going to be plugging right now because I need patrons and I need motivation to make my comic. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think I might save my big announcement for the next episode though.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'll just build suspicion with putting that little hint in there.
That sounds good.
Okay, my turn, I guess.
Yeah.
So I actually have a painting in a show that opens tomorrow. Yay. It's at Ghost Gallery again.
Hell, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah, and I did a hand embellished canvas print
Ooh.
of my lover's painting. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
It's up and it looks pretty nice, I think.
Oh, that's
It was
awesome.
nice to kind of like do something that felt like more traditional. It still wasn't, like it was a digital painting, but I got to print it out and then put some acrylics on top.
Oh.
I painted some acrylics and then some very subtle sparkles
Nice.
over certain parts, and then I used gel to cover the entire thing. So that was kind of fun to like do something that was actually tangible.
Yeah.
For a few days there. And yeah, and now people can see it at the show.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that you've been like doing gallery shows.
Yes. Now I'm like, I guess I should try to get into more.
Why not? Go for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Why not?
Seriously.
It's scary. Doing anything is scary, guys. We know this.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Turns out.
That is the big truth. Jess, that's awesome.
What are you up
Thank
to,
you.
Sonnett?
So I've been applying to a million conventions, so many
Yay!
art
Yay!
shows, street fairs, all of it. So
Good.
I can't remember. Did I say last time? But that I got into FairyCon. Did I talk about that last time?
I know
I think
we've
that's-
spoken about it. I don't remember if you mentioned it on the
Don't
podcast.
remember.
I don't think you did. I think it happened in between.
But it's
Okay.
worth repeating.
I got accepted into FairyCon.
Yay!
I'm so excited. I can't even tell
Yay.
you. I look at the pictures and I'm like, hello, my beautiful fairy
Aw.
people. I'm
You're
coming
gonna have
to
so
be-
much fun.
Ah,
That is so good.
I can't wait. I like not only want to vend, I'm so excited for vending, but then also just putting on a fairy costume and dancing to all the
Aw.
music at night. Like,
Yeah,
it sounds so fun.
that's gonna be great.
Oh
That's
my
gonna
gosh.
be really, really good.
And David's going with me, so it's going to be kind of like a Halloween trip. We're gonna
Oh,
go...
that's so
Yeah, like
fun.
how could he not though? Like that's so
Yeah.
fun.
We're gonna go to Edgar Allan Poe's like grave. and
Stop.
Wow.
stuff, so
That is so cool.
I'm so excited.
Which one are you in again? Like which location?
It's the Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and it's right around Halloween, so there's gonna be a ton of good
That
stuff.
is so
going on.
cool.
I know. I'm just super stoked about that. But I am also so excited. I got into the local fairy festival as well. So,
Nice.
Yeah, there's one here in the suburbs
Yay.
in Chicago. I've never been, so I'm super excited. Again, this is awesome. It looks like an awesome show, and it's close by, which is wonderful. And it just looks, it's going to be outside in the summertime. It's going to be just beautiful and fun, and I'm just totally delighted. So
That
Okay.
sounds so
But
cool.
can you dress up as
Yeah.
a fairy for that one too?
totally.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
definitely want to check that one out.
Yeah, it's just in Elgin in the suburbs, so you can,
Oh, okay.
you can take the metro out
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to get to. So.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
not
I've heard
bad.
of that before.
Yeah, it's been around for a few years now. But I've heard only good things about it. I've had friends who've performed in it, and it just looks like a really wonderful show. So,
That's
awesome.
Yeah. And then I also got into Made Chicago for December. So it's a Maker's Christmas show. Yeah.
You are stacked this year.
I know.
I'm like, there's more to come hopefully if I get into them, but like, whew, this is my year to learn how to bend.
I mean, you'll get a lot of practice, and I think you're gonna come out of it like really strong.
Thank you.
I think it's gonna inspire you.
Yeah.
And like give you the confidence boost too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited, and I'm excited to try a bunch of different shows. I have a couple street fairs I'm trying for to try that out, and then I'll have the more art show focused Maker Fair, and then I will have the convention. So that's a nice variety to see where my work does best. So
sweet.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Anyway, that was long-winded.
No, you're fine.
Conventions. But I'm excited for all of us. It sounds like we're all doing a bunch of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy.
Yeah, me too.
And so our topic today is about relationships.
What?
It's Valentine's Day coming up tomorrow, and so we thought we'd do an episode about relationships, and specifically it's really interesting because all three of us are in relationships with other creative people.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be really interesting to talk about that dynamic and how that helps your art, maybe what challenges are or things you talk about. Just, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah. I think it is too.
Yeah.
Jess, I want to hear from you first.
We're like, Jess, you talk.
Yes. I have to talk for the spicy episode.
Please talk for the spicy episode.
I mean, for me, it was a lot more difficult at first than it is now.
Yeah.
I think because one of the biggest challenges in being in a creative relationship is, one, the fact that you're both creative and people deal with that different ways. Mm-hmm. Like, some people are very collaborative and others are very isolationist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely isolationist. I don't want other people touching my stuff. I'm like, don't touch my art.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
This is like, or it's like my project, it's my thing. Like, and that is, like, to be clear, different from getting critique.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that's not like, because some people equate that with like not handling critique. But it's really just like, I want to do it on my own.
Yes.
Right.
You know, like, and when you have a creative significant other who's like wanting to like collaborate and make creative projects together, it's just like even if it's something that's supposed to be fun, it just, to me, like, I struggle with that. I can't do it. And that took like a while for my boyfriend to get used to. Because to him, it's just like happy playtime. But to me, I'm like, this just feels like work and you need to go away.
Right.
And
yeah.
So there's definitely like a disconnect there with how we handle it. Like, because because he does audio and music.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, our things aren't in competition with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it would feel like that.
Interesting.
If that makes sense. Yeah, it's still kind of like, especially when he's crossed over. So he does it for video games. So like sometimes his stuff crosses over into things that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and then I just get like also really irritated. So for me, I have to try to keep it all like as separate as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Or else it just creates like discord.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that's definitely been something that's been interesting.
Yeah.
I'm just really glad he's not a painter.
Oh, that would be so hard.
I'm interested if you're okay with elaborating, like where do you feel like that there's that kind of like crossover, like if you guys were ever going to like
because like he's done things where it's like he'll want to learn how to do like certain art stuff that crosses over into games, and then sometimes when I'm doing games then he's doing games, and then like we talk about maybe wanting to work on something together.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes bad because like we can't quite agree on the art, and
I see
and then it's just like go away.
So it's not even necessarily like you each doing your sort of like skill that you specialize in. It's that kind of like wanting to share that like visual piece.
Yeah. And I think it's really hard because with something like, for me, like when I'm approached with his work, like to me, I'm just like, that's great.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm like, to me, like anything that he made would like sound good to me.
Right.
You know, and I think his stuff does sound good. And I'm like, this is great. But for him, like, I feel like not everyone may feel like this, but with visual arts, people generally think they know more than they do.
Mm-hmm.
And like everyone feels entitled to an opinion because it's something that's easily translatable. Like,
I think
visual arts isn't as niche as making sounds.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's one of those things. It's hard.
I think that's fair, but I feel like I've definitely encountered people who will like think they know about things like audio and like music when it's just like, do you though?
Yeah. Probably not.
Like I just feel like there's people like that in response to any media.
Definitely.
In general. But yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and like this isn't the first relationship where I've dealt with that, where it's just like, well, draw it more like this. I'm like, stop.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I'm like, no.
Although I get the maddest with David, with my husband. I get the maddest because he has better ideas than me. And then I'm like, get out of my face, get out of the room.
Oh,
that's not how I feel.
I'm like, you get out right now.
I understand that. I don't think
I get jealous, and then I'm like, I just totally my self-esteem plummets, and I'm like walking out of the room.
Yeah, I feel like that would happen to me too. Because I'm like, I need to have the best ideas.
Right? Must have the best.
I always have the best ideas.
There you go. So I guess it's different. I just feel like
that's just an ego problem.
Oh.
Oh God. My ego.
Or that one time my boyfriend made me make him an asset for a game he wanted to make, and then didn't make the game. And it is one of like the best things I ever made.
Oh.
And I'm still bitter. I'm like, you didn't use that stupid bird. Like, I love that bird. I animated that bird.
Oh wow.
And it was all painted and flappy.
Oh.
And it sang.
Wow.
It's freaking cool. And where is it? Just in a file in my computer. It's fine.
Oh.
Cry some tears.
Pour one out.
I should just make another one.
Yeah.
Put it in my portfolio.
Yeah.
Do it.
Just release it. Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Do it.
Yeah, I need an updated one because I think I could make it better now. But, you know.
There you go.
Besides the point. Someone else talk.
All right. I don't know. Okay, so I'm an illustrator, and Oddon, my husband, is a game programmer. His experience is definitely, like, the stuff he makes is obviously way more on a technical level. But you know, I mean, he still makes stuff. He's still a creator. And I feel like in terms of collaborating, like, that's not even, like, honestly a thing that can happen right now, just because, like, I am not equipped to be a game artist right now. Like, as much as I would love to be, and I would definitely love to, like, someday work on a game, I'm just not there right now. And, like, the one time I did try to make assets for one of his projects, I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to do pixel art and look up some tutorials. And it was, you know, it was okay. But it was, you know, the, like, probably okayest pixel art, you know? Because
it's a skill.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely learned that it's not as easy as it looks. And I was like, all right, lesson learned. If I want to do this, I'm going to have to actually invest time into learning.
I hate when that lesson happens, right? It's like,
right? Yeah, it's like, even though I literally just finished a whole degree.
Yep.
Like, what? There's more I need to learn? That's ridiculous. But yeah, and, like, I do like going to him with my ideas, just because, like, as creatives, like, I definitely get to see him kind of, like, flex his, like, creative muscles outside of his programming, more like recreationally, like when we play things like tabletop role-playing games, because it's like he's really great at, like, world building, and we, like, co-DM a game together, and that is, like, really fun because it's like, because he is a very technical person, and I'm not, we definitely, like, think of things differently, and we draw inspiration from things in a very different way, and I think we do know how to work very harmoniously, which is, I think, something that's just important to both of us, just because, like, both of us come from, like, backgrounds where, like, neither of our parents really worked together. Like, it's kind of like each parent had their, like, individual role, like, knew what they're gonna do. And so for us, it's like, because of just, I think just the type of relationship that we have, like, we do like working together a lot. And I think this is going to start getting really complex because of, like, how it's going to kind of go into, like, how we value relationships, but it's like, I'm much more invested in, like, relationships with, like, my partner, and so I get a lot out of it in that sense of, like, being able to do stuff with him. And it's like, he's much more social than I am, so he gets a lot out of, like, being around friends and everything, because he's very extroverted. But I think he gets a lot out of, like, doing stuff with me, because, like, we're just doing stuff together, and I think it fulfills, like, that social need for him. Nice. But it's like, in the end, we still get something out of it, you know? But yeah, like, it's just interesting, because it's like, we are both creative people, but, like, in very different ways, and it's just, it's interesting, kind of, like, laying it all out.
Yeah.
I think the sort of, like, strongest, I guess, like, most concrete example I can think of to kind of compare the different types of creatives that we are is that, like, when it comes to, like, the kitchen, it's like, I'm the cook and he's the baker. Because, like, it's like, with baking, it's like, you kind of have to be, like, good at, like, science. You have to be good at, like, following directions. You have to be good at, like, technical stuff. You have to be good at, like, you know, like, understanding sort of, like, the chemistry that happens when you bake. And it's like, when you cook, I feel like there's a lot more room to be you know, it's like, oh, if you miss an ingredient or if you don't have it, you can just replace it with a, you know. But it's like in baking, it's like, okay, if you don't have this ingredient, you have to know which ingredient can actually substitute it so that it doesn't destroy the entire thing.
Right.
But yeah, like, that's kind of like the biggest way I usually explain to people, like, the differences in like how we're both creative but differently is like he's a really great baker. Like, he is a fantastic baker and I don't understand it. And I'm just like, I'm much more of a cook. I'm like, just throw stuff in the pan.
It sounds
And,
like you
like,
two just complement each other really well.
yeah, I think we got very lucky in that aspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like, I guess, Sonnett, you go ahead, and I don't know if there's like specific questions that are gonna come up while we're talking about this,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's pretty general.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I think it's very interesting. I love that analogy.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. But that makes sense with your working relationship, and I can see that hanging out with you two, that's how you relate to each
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. It's funny. For me and David, we have a pretty complicated relationship. but but we've been together for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a lot of experiences together.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, we were both in that same boat as you, Vickie, in the sense that we both love hanging out, doing stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. We'll like plop down in front of the couch. We'll
Yeah.
throw on some Star Trek.
Nice.
We'll just, make stuff. He'll be making props for his movies, or he'll be doing storyboards or shot lists. And I'll be doing, whatever current project I'm working on. And we've just worked this way for a really long time. And
Yeah.
it's really companionable.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really comfortable to just sit there and
Sounds
have
like it.
somebody creating next to you. I don't know. I just really like that feeling.
Yeah.
It feels very homey to me.
Mhm.
But yes, there's also, though, that separation too, because when we were first living together for the first time, David did one of his feature films. He filmed it in our apartment.
Oh.
And I learned. And I'm like a middle of the road, introverted, extroverted. Like, I really need some introverted time, but I also need some extroverted time.
Yeah.
And I was like, there are people in my house all
Oh.
the time. I can't ever escape. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I said yes because I was like, oh, I want to help out. This is something that's
Right.
really important. I want to be very supportive. But then I was like, oh no, I've made the wrong decision. So we had to like navigate through that and kind of figure out, okay, well, for future projects, how is that going to look? And how will we negotiate filming in the apartment? And what's an acceptable compromise? And we did. We worked all that out. So that was really good. But we learned a lot from that. And I learned that I would love to help more with this stuff, but I don't have the energy necessarily to.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be selective about what I say yes to.
Right.
In terms of helping him with the actual productions. But I do love cheering him on. I love reading his scripts, and we talk about ideas. But then I'm also really jealous of any critique from him for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, again, like I said, he has better ideas than I do. So I'm like, get out of my face.
Oh. Yeah.
But when I'm in the mood and I'm okay with it, like I'm in a good headspace about my art, then I can ask him for critique and he'll have good ideas. So
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very selective.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
I had to give up even asking for critique.
Yeah, that's
Eventually, like, we came to the point where I'm just like, if I show you something, just tell me it looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Because, like, he would critique it, and I'd be like, I just want you to be my boyfriend and tell me it looks pretty. You know, like, when you're like, do I look fat in this dress? Like, you say no.
Yeah.
Like,
you're like, also with this.
Yeah.
it's the for me, it's like the same thing, but I don't know. It's like, it's really nice though that you guys have found these relationships where you can just like kind of work parallel to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't do it. Like, I had this problem. Like, it's not a problem with my boyfriend. It's a problem with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have such a hard time working in the same room as anyone.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I get
it's
that.
very bizarre.
I don't know.
No.
But even at school, like, I would have a hard time with it, and I'd just like go home.
No,
Yeah.
I totally understand that. Like, I could never get work done at school. Like, I have had so many instances when like friends are like, oh, what are you up to? And I'm like, oh, I'm working on this project. They'll be like, oh, can I come over so we can like work together? I'm like, no, because I will not get anything done.
Right.
It's like you are going to be distracting and we're going to be watching videos.
Yep.
That is what's going to happen.
And like, when I'm like, especially at the beginning of art, well, honestly, throughout the whole thing, like, if someone interrupts my process,
yeah,
I get really upset.
Yeah.
Like, if someone else is there, it interrupts how my brain works. And I don't think a lot of people understand it, because I'll just sit in my house alone all day, right?
Yeah.
And I might not even be doing art the whole time. Mm-hmm. I'll like draw a few lines, then get up and start sweeping the floor. I do that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's still part of my process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
even
you need that
naps.
time to like work through stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
No, like that's exactly how I am too. Like, I'm very, like, I know it has to do with my god-awful attention span, but it's just like I have a lot of issues with like executive function where like I have a really hard time getting things started.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just like, it takes me like 2 hours to get comfortable and be like, okay, I had my breakfast, I took a shower, I tidied a little bit, the desk is clear, I watched a couple videos.
Yeah.
Now
I do the same thing.
Me
yeah.
too.
Like, Photoshop has been open for 2 hours. I'm starting to feel a little upset about it. Now I'm going to open a file.
Yes. Except I open the file first.
Yeah.
And then like leave it up for those few hours.
Yeah.
Let it stare at me from
just like it feels like warming up a car or something.
Yes.
Yes.
Totally.
But now, like, and then if someone comes and talks to you while you're warming up the car,
no.
it's like
I have to roll down my window.
Yep.
Yes. And then it just sets you back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now the car is cold again.
Yeah.
And so, like, and we don't, so in our apartment we don't have like, there's the bedroom, which is really small, and then like a big room. That's it.
Yeah.
So I can't do it. I can't sit in there and work. So like whenever he's home, I'm like, I'm just gonna go in the bedroom and read a book.
Yeah.
Like, but then he just is like, I can work fine. I don't really have a choice. Well,
like, I'm glad you've overcome that problem.
Oh no.
Yeah,
okay.
like, yeah, like,
I'll just take a nap.
Yeah, I think being distractions to each other can definitely become a thing.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Because like for me, I again, like I think I've spoken before about like potentially having like an attention deficit disorder, but it's just like I'm like being aware of that, I'm able to kind of catch myself. Hey.
Oh no, did we lose you?
Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs.
Oh shoot, I think we lost Vickie for a minute here.
Me, and I'm just
There you
like,
are,
I'm
there you
getting work done.
Oh,
I've been
no.
so productive.
Wait,
That was a fascinating story.
we missed the middle of your story, Vickie. It cut out.
Oh, it cut out? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so okay, so having kind of like bad attention span and potentially having like an attention deficit disorder, aside from, you know, like having issues with like executive function, there's also the sort of like hyperfocus and hyperfixation that comes with it, where it's like I'm working on stuff and it's just like I'm like super in the zone and it's like nothing can get me out of it.
Right.
And it's like I could be sitting at my computer for hours just working on stuff and just like going until like I notice that like I have a headache because I haven't eaten in like 7 hours.
Yeah.
But I know with Oddon, it's like he's good at focusing like immediately. Like he can jump into an activity and just be like, all right, I'm doing my programming assignment now. I'm doing my math homework now. I can't do that, but it's like he gets distracted really easily. And I'm kind of regretting the way we laid out our desks, because like our working desks are right next to each other. And that was initially because like the room that we have, I wanted that to be our like entertainment, like little living room, so that like if we ever wanted to like play on the computer together, we could be in the same room and talk to each other. Which we haven't had the time to actually do yet, just because this is his last year. But I know if I'm watching a video on my screen, like when I face my desk, he's behind me facing a wall, like to my right. And so if he just turns, he can see my screens pretty easily. I have to turn all the way around to see his screens.
Oh, right.
So
then he
if
gets distracted.
all he has to do is look over and see that I'm watching something vaguely entertaining.
Oh no.
I understand this.
Yeah. And like I'll turn around and I notice that he's just also watching what I'm watching. Like even if I have my headphones on.
Gray does this.
Yeah. And I'm like looking at him. I'm like, I thought you were doing work. And he's like, I am.
Right, and that's Gray does that too.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I guess I do the same thing.
I do too.
Yeah.
Like I'll go. Oh no, go ahead.
No. Like it's I think the only reason it probably doesn't happen to me is that like if I were to get distracted by that, I would have to turn all the way around.
Yeah, so it's just positioning.
Yeah, but I think in that particular scenario, he does get distracted more easily than I do. But in literally every other instance in life, I get distracted a bajillion times more easily than he does.
Oh no.
It's like I'm either in like hyper focus or my brain is, I don't know, flatlining or something, exploding at the same time. Sonnett, what were you gonna say right now?
Oh no, it wasn't that important.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's totally fine. Just adding to that experience that we've all experienced some of that. But yeah, it definitely sounds like a struggle. But that balance of trying to not distract each other while also trying to distract each other because you found things that you both like and you want to show each other.
Yeah.
Constant battle.
Yeah.
David will come in and he'll be like, I found this thing and there's a story, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of stuff, and then I'll like get to a stopping point, and then I'll go out and I'm like, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
This thing, and he's like, I'm trying to build this. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, we do the same thing. It's really difficult.
Yeah. It is. It's hard to find that balance.
Yeah, I think one thing that he's had to learn, especially in the last maybe like year or so, is like he's definitely had to learn to not distract me, because like the way I am, it's like I'm just the type of person, like I'm very afraid of like impeding on someone or like bothering people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if I see he's busy and I really want to show him something, I'll just be like, how busy are you right now? And then he'll be like, I'm pretty busy. And I'll be like, okay, I'll come back later.
Oh, nice.
But it's like, for him, if he knows that, like, so again, I'm going to go back to the example of, like, tabletop RPGs. When he, like, first introduced me to D&D, I was like, this is awesome. I'm super into it. I started learning 5e, trying to DM and everything. But it's like, again, with bad attention, I have a hard time focusing on reading, so it takes me a long time to like I don't know very much about what's in the, like, Dungeon Master's Guide. It's like, I know how to fill out a character sheet and, like, kind of run a game, but it's like there's a lot of technical stuff that I don't know because I can't get myself to sit down and read through the. But Oddon, on the other hand, is a speed reader. Which is very frustrating when you're a slow reader.
Oh yeah.
Like,
That would be.
Yeah, like, it's not even that, like, it's not even, like, poor comprehension or anything on my part. It's that, like I can read a page pretty quickly, but, like, my brain's not paying attention to what I'm reading.
Right.
And so it's like, it'll be like, oh yeah, like, I'm finally kind of getting play 5e, and he'll be like, oh, I just found this other system that I just finished reading the whole rule book to. Let me tell you about it. And he'll tell me about it, and I'm like, oh my god, that sounds so cool. I gotta check it out. And then when I'm, like, starting to try to check that one out, he's already moved on to the next one.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like, I told him, I'm like, you need to realize that, like, I'm not even upset that, like, you've left me behind. I'm just excited that there's another new thing. And it's like, you need to realize that, like, I didn't absorb any of the previous things.
Nice.
And he's like, yeah, I never thought about that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not retaining a lot of information. I'm just excited about new stuff.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Except when you're trying to learn.
I guess so. I guess so.
But that's kind of, like, where a lot of that sort of, like, learning to work with each other and understanding, like, how you kind of, like, learn and create is, like, super important. But, like, I know that, like, if I have something that, like, I want to introduce him to, like, if I can just find, like, a sheet explaining it, I could just be like, oh, here. And he can, get through it. But it's like, when he wants to share stuff with me, I'm like, okay, let's sit down and go through it so you can walk me through it, because that's the only way I'm going to learn this.
Right.
And that's, like, with anything, because he actually tried to teach me programming, and it's like, I was kind of getting it, but I think my brain's just not ready for it.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's definitely, like, one of those skills. It's like, some people are just more inclined to it. It's like, I tried teaching him, like, in basics for, like, drawing and stuff, and it's just like, he can do it if he needs to, but, like, he's not going to try to make a career out of it like I am.
Right.
But it is nice to kind of, like, share those tools with each other.
Yeah, well, just having the understanding. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest benefits of being with a creative partner, is that they understand the creative process.
Yeah.
They understand, at least, even if their process isn't the same, they understand that art is important, or they should understand. I mean, it depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
But I guess we're lucky enough to be with people that I think do understand that, art is important, that there is a process to it, and that you have to spend time doing it and practicing it, and that you will need the things that you need to create that. I think that's a lot easier with someone who also does creative stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they automatically have another level of like empathy for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But have you guys like ever dated another painter / drawer?
No.
No.
Man. I always told myself from like a young age, I was like, don't do it. Like, I always knew myself, I'm like, don't ever do it. That'll never happen because you just can't. Like, and I find it interesting, like when I see like some of my favorite artists and stuff like collaborate on actual drawings with their significant others, and I'm like, that looks nice, but I don't know how you did it.
Right? Like, what magic?
Like you both touched it at the same time.
That's amazing.
Like, no. And I don't know how people can like stifle that competition.
Yeah.
Like I to me it would be so much harder when you're in a romantic relationship with someone. Like if it's your friend, you know, you're going to school with them, like there's competition, but I feel like it's like tripled if you're trying to be romantic with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many more intense emotions.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't compartmentalize it.
I feel like if I were, I don't know, if I were in a relationship with someone who is also an illustrator, it's not necessarily the competitiveness. Like I don't think I would experience that. I think for me it's like, I know I can be like an overbearing person. So it's like I feel like I'm going to try to tell them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm like, oh, well, I'm an illustrator too. Like, I know what you're going through. Why don't you do this? And I feel like that is where it would become problematic for me. You know, me just constantly being like, oh, could you just like pushing the like should on them, like, oh, you should do this, or you should do this, or you should do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with like the excuse that like, oh, but I'm an illustrator too. You know,
like I don't think I could get over the comparison game.
Me either. That would be me.
Because like if they were better than me, I'd always hate myself.
Yep.
Right? And if they were worse than me, I'd be like, why am I with you?
Like, you suck, get out of my face.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because then I'd think it would like reflect badly on me.
Oh, wow.
Man.
Right? And like, but that's like I feel like that's just like, I'm weird about romantic relationships in that way. Because like you know, like those kind of feelings like don't like really interfere in my life beyond a romantic partner.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like I don't care. Like I try not to think that way about my family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But then like as soon as it's like a significant other, I'm like super judgy.
Yeah, like the level, like the judge level is higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like and for me, like, so like even if like let's say like my partner was an illustrator and they were better than me, and I was always like hating myself because I thought they were better, like even if they didn't feel like that way at all, like or see things that way or ever think that, I would still think, because that's the way I think, that that's how they think, and then like it would just end in catastrophe. We wouldn't last.
Yep. I feel totally the same, Jess.
It's just like terrible. I don't know how people do it. One time I dated someone who was a game artist.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna do some spicy bashing here.
Spicy bash time.
We would get into
wait, that sounds like a special
tips.
move.
It does.
Spicy bash.
That's like someone's ultimate.
Yes.
Like we would get into tiffs because I would think that like I just preferred 2D art. I love doing 2D art. I love painting. I love drawing. And he was just like, 3D art is the superior art. Like, you're stupid. And then one time he was like, you should see these amazing paintings I did when I was in middle school.
Oh, no.
Okay. He's
Oh,
like,
no.
aren't they just so amazing? Like, they really look like a professional did it. Like, he mentioned, like, someone like Van Gogh or something. And I just, like, remember, like, nodding my head. Like, okay, sure. Let me tell you, they were not that great.
I believe that.
Like, I mean, they weren't, like, atrocious. I'm like, why are you showing off something you did when you were, like, 11?
Yeah. It's like, what did you make this week?
Yeah, exactly.
Were you productive at all?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was a weird, like, 3-month period of my life.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, that type of, like, bragging is... It just comes...
Oh, no.
But yeah, I mean, like, artists dating artists, it's tough.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
But, like, imagine trying to, like, date someone that did, like, I don't know, journalism? Finances?
Finances would be hard because how
Yeah.
would you...
Oh, wait, journalism is still creative, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, if...
journalism is writing.
Honestly,
yeah, finances.
If it was like someone that did finances, I'd be like, bro, guess who's doing my taxes?
You're like, run my
Like,
business.
Not me.
Bro, guess who's paying the rent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess who's paying rent?
For real,
It's like, look, if I can save money on skipping out on the accountant.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever dated someone that at least didn't have an interest in art.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say you don't think you've ever done your taxes.
Oh no.
I've done my taxes like twice. Let me just say, my taxes aren't that complicated.
Taxes are so annoying and I hate them.
Like, the best year for taxes for me was when I just had the same job all year.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And, like, there was nothing else. And
That
I was
makes
just
sense.
like, this is very straightforward.
Yeah.
It's like, I love it. But yeah. Man, that's like the dream, though. Like, you make enough money to pay someone else to do your taxes.
Right?
Yes. That would be awesome.
That's the dream. That's how you know you've made it.
Yeah. It's like I do pay someone to do my taxes, but I shouldn't. I can't actually afford it.
Right? It's one of those expenses where you're like,
Yeah. Like, is this tax deductible?
Yes. This is part of my business.
This is
right?
Yeah.
Oh, my dad calls me all the time and it's just like, I need your receipt for this. It's tax deductible.
That's
like-
nice.
Okay. Oh, yeah, but let me tell you, he is scary anal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every Saturday for about like 3 hours, he sits down and files his receipts.
Wow.
Just for taxes in April.
Holy cow.
I like that. I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's like an admirable level of organization that I can
It's
only dream
crazy. It's crazy. You have no idea. As a kid, I learned very quickly in my early years, like, don't bother him when he's doing receipts.
of. Oh.
Man, because he'd get so grumpy, he'd, like, look at the receipts and he'd grumble about the money on the receipt.
He gets all cranky about money.
And then he, like, so all the receipts,
That's
like,
kind of adorable.
he takes them and, like, he got this special scanner that you
Oh,
can
yeah.
make small for receipts.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it eats them.
Nice.
And then he shreds them all. And he shreds all our mail. It's
okay.
impressive.
The shredding part is a bit intense.
Oh, he shreds everything. I have to make piles of things. Sometimes, like, even though I live across the country now, I make my own little piles and bring them home to be shredded.
I actually really want a paper shredder because for me, I feel like having a paper shredder is going to help me just, like, not have so many piles of paper that I know I'm not going to use.
I mean, you can also just recycle.
I do that. I do recycle a lot.
When I feel guilty about not shredding something, I just kind of, like, I've been known to, like, shred it with my hand and then, like, throw it away in different piles of trash.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, I've done that too.
Like, you think, like, it's some, like, security in your head.
Yeah.
You're like, this is good enough.
But yeah, I mean, like, I'm just not that organized. My brain just doesn't function like that. Like, I need to have a house that's organized-ish.
Yep. Yeah.
But, like, it's still not, like, impeccable, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I basically know where things are.
Right.
Like, I've got drawers for these things, drawers for these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but yeah, I feel like, I don't know, maybe this isn't true, but creatives and people in creative relationships, like, it's really hard to keep everything organized like that.
Yeah. Between me and Oddon, he's definitely way more organized than I am. He is also good at kind of, like, he has, like, for the most part, like, he is organized, and he's, like, maybe a step into that, like, organized mess type of person.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, his desk drawer, I hate looking at it because it looks like papers exploded in there, but he knows where everything is in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, yeah. But for me, the way his desk drawer looks is just how my life looks. And I don't know where anything is.
Okay, but what does your computer desktop look like? Like, compared to his? Like, how many files do you have up at once?
Like, how many files I have up at once?
No, like, you know, like your desktop icons?
Oh, like the icons? I have, like, 2 columns on one monitor and 1 column on another monitor. Again, of stuff that needs to be cleaned out. And I can't see his, and I can't see his because I can't reach his mouse because I have my headphones on. But I know he is also better about, like, general computer maintenance, and, like, he has to remind me to, like, you know, do my, like, antivirus sweeps and stuff. Because
we have the opposite problem in my house. I'm very on top of it. I also back up my computer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I started using Backblaze recently, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Like, everyone should back up their computer.
Yeah.
I have multiple backups of my computer.
Yeah.
Multiple. On multiple hard drives.
Yeah,
that's good.
Like, so I just, like, I can't fathom when some people cough, don't back up their stuff.
That's hilarious. You're, like, not naming any names.
Oh, even in school, like, when people would be like, my hard drive crashed and I have nothing left. I'm like,
where's your backup?
Who are you? Like, when I'm working on a project I really like, not only do I back up my computer, I just back up the project on something else.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forget to back stuff up, which is why I just got Backblaze, because it's like I'll, like, remember to back up once in a blue moon, and then it's like I realize that there's a lot of old files, and I'm just like, I need to sort through these because I need to make space for all my new shit.
Right.
But, like, Backblaze, it's all automatic, and I'm just like, you take care of it. Don't bother me with this. If my computer crashes, I know where to go.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. That's good.
But it's like, it's the solution for someone like me.
Yeah.
that's what I have, except it doesn't work right now, so I have to do it manually now because I don't have it's all set up at my parents' house.
Oh.
Right now I have to do it manually on a drive I have here, but when I'm at their house, it just does it on its own, like a little robot.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm like, good boy. Pets.
All
Oh,
right.
man.
So
Relationships.
yeah, what conclusions have we drawn from the conversation?
I feel like this was just supposed to be like a spicy session.
A spicy dish session on our relationships.
Session.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's really nice to talk about these things because it's like it's tough.
Yeah.
But also it's nice.
It's
It is.
What was that? It's good to be aware of, I think, different relationship dynamics.
Yes.
It is, and I feel like it's important, like especially if you're if you're dating someone creative or who's not creative or married or whatever, like it's good to like talk about like how your creativity works, because people tend to assume that another person is just like they are.
Yes.
Like that's just generally what we assume as humans.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, like, for example, my friend was talking to me about how she just took this like quiz and made that's about your love language.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
I know those.
Yeah, and then she made her boyfriend take it too, so they could have a conversation about like what the other person needs to feel loved in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, that's important, and you should do that about your creativity too.
Yes.
Like, this is what I need to flourish creatively on my own in our relationship.
Yeah.
Like, and this is how I work. Like, I feel like that's such an important conversation you have.
Yes. It's really important. And it's really... I think it's important and probably the hardest, like what you were talking about, Jess, with if you need space, if you need quiet time and
that's hard,
and alone time to be able to create, that's really difficult to set boundaries around. But it's really important.
Yeah. It is, and it's definitely one of those things where like I want to say it comes in time, but that's not true. It has come in time, but like we've also talked about it a lot.
Yes.
Like, and it gets easier the more we talk about it. Like, we went through like a lot of like me crying,
right,
to get to like a point now where I feel like it's going well.
Yeah.
Good.
But I think also I want to say that it's an important conversation to have, not just with a significant other, but also like friends or roommates.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like or even teachers. Like I found that when we went to school, a lot of the professors were pretty understanding of like people needed different environments to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, which was kind of cool about our classes. A lot of them, like, they were 4 hours, but you could choose to go somewhere else to work.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think those are just, like, your creative language or creative process is important to
quote.
figure out and share with your important people in your life.
I like that. I like that.
It'll save you a headache.
Yeah. Yep. But also quickly, I know we're at the end here. I just do want to say this is going to be super sappy, but I am super grateful for my relationship and for the many hours I've had of inspiring each other and encouraging each other and cheering each other on through really hard times in our creative process, and just being there for each other, being a cheerleader and being just giving that hug, when you're really stressed about stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm so grateful for that.
I completely agree. Same.
Same, I guess. I'm not that sappy
I know, Jess. It's okay.
But I understand what you're saying.
I'm making little hearts in both my hands.
I'll do it too.
Oh, nice. Oh, so much love.
Love.
Yeah.
Love.
So much. But that goes to friends, wonderful, good friends too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very important. So on that beautiful, lovely, heartfelt note, shall we go ahead and finish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you have been listening to Through Dangers Untold. Our logo was created by Karen Hodo. You can find her online at kmhododesigns.com. And you can find me at sonnettshline.com. And also here on Twitch, I'll be starting a new Twitch stream channel soon.
Yay.
So you can find me here on Twitch at Sonnett Shelline. And then at Sonnett Shelline everywhere else as well. And where can they find you?
You can find me at vickiper.com. You can find me anywhere on the internet, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Vickiper. You can also check out my Patreon at patreon.com/Vickiper. Become a patron. Help me get my comic done.
Woohoo!
Yay.
And you can find me on social media, Twitter and Instagram, at JRU Bishop, which is just my initials and my last name, or my website, which is jessicarubishop.com.
Awesome. And we hope you will join us on March 13th for our next discussion. And thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next month.